Before starting the assessment, I used the examiner record booklet to calculate Brooklyn's chronological age, which is 71 months. This determined that we would start at item 66 for the visual motor integration section of the assessment. As you can see here in the first item, item 66, building steps, Brooklyn scored a 2. Brooklyn scored a 2 because she was successfully able to rebuild the steps based on my example. For item 67, connecting dots, Brooklyn scored a 1. She scored a 1 because although she connected the dots, she did deviate from horizontal. As you can see here, when measuring, Brooklyn deviated between 1/4 and 1/2 inch from horizontal, which indicated that she scored a 1. For item 68, cutting square, Brooklyn scored a 2. As you can see here, Brooklyn was able to cut along the lines. When measuring, you can see that Brooklyn was able to cut along the lines within 1/4 inch, which indicated a score of 2. For item 69, building pyramid, Brooklyn scored a 2. As you can see, Brooklyn scored a 2 because she was able to successfully build the pyramid using the example given. For item 70, folding paper, Brooklyn scored a 2. As you can see, Brooklyn was able to successfully fold the paper in half. When measuring, a score of 2 was indicated because the edges of the paper that Brooklyn folded were within 1/8 of an inch of each other. For item 71, coloring between the lines, Brooklyn scored a 1. A score of 1 was given because although Brooklyn covered 3/4 of the space between the lines, she did color outside the lines 4 times. On the final item, item 72, folding paper, Brooklyn scored a 0. As shown, Brooklyn was successfully able to fold the paper in half twice. However, when measuring, the edges of the paper that Brooklyn folded were beyond 1/2 inch from each other. For the final scoring of the visual motor integration section of the Peabody assessment, I used the profile summary form. For the purposes of this video, a basal was not established and it was assumed that Brooklyn scored a 2 on items 1 through 65 of the visual motor integration section. Here, in section 2 of the profile summary form, I recorded the raw score from the visual motor integration section. Using a score of 2 for items 1 to 65, and the scores earned by Brooklyn here on items 66 through 72, the calculated raw score for the visual motor integration section was 140. It was recorded here on section 2 of the profile summary form. Using the raw score of 140 in table C1 and appendix C, I was able to find and record the age equivalents for the visual motor integration subtest, which was 71 months. Based on table A37 in appendix A, which corresponds to Brooklyn's chronological age of 71 months, I converted the raw score into the standard and percentile. Based on Brooklyn's performance, her raw score in the table provided, Brooklyn scored within the 63rd percentile and a standard score of 11 for the visual motor integration section of the Peabody assessment. The results from the fine, gross, and total motor sections of the Peabody Developmental Motor Scales assessment can be used in combination with interview and direct observation to determine if further assessment and intervention are needed. In regards to Brooklyn's performance on the visual motor integration section of this assessment, she does not seem to need intervention. However, if she or another child scored below their chronological age in the age equivalent section or had a lower percentile ranking, intervention might be needed. The Motor Activities Program book could be used to help plan interventions.